Hi friends, welcome back to the Hands Units podcast. Today I'm sharing my project updates with you. I have a finished object, a work in progress, a fix knit that I'm going to fix instead of frogging, and a few acquisitions to share with you, plus all the books that I have been reading in the last 2 weeks. So let's get started. Okay, first my finished object is my Crail Cardigan. It is still drying, so I'll put some footage up of the blocking mats that I have it on. I want it to be completely dry before I lift it because I want the cables to stay stretched out. I really had to block this one. If you missed it, I am testing the Crail Cardigan by Rebecca Clow of Creabea Knitwear podcast, and it's an Aran weight all over honeycomb cable cardigan, vest, slip over, all of that. She has quite a few options, I guess, that you can make. And I am using US 7 needles. I had to go up a needle size because I did not meet gauge. And I have enjoyed testing it. The test knit has about 2 or 3 weeks left. And so I am done on time. But also feels like a big one. So it will just be a few weeks before it's released for you guys if you are planning to knit it. A few thoughts on this cardigan. I really do like it. I think the issue that I have is that I test knit it. So usually I look at things forever before I decide to make them. But this one I did not. So it didn't give me the chance to see it on testers, to see it like in different bodies and all of that. And so I didn't really know how it fit. Obviously you can read the schematic. She didn't have all the info available, but you can read that and see. But there's nothing quite like seeing it on another person. So I will say, like, my understanding of the fit, I feel like has changed as it's gone on. Basically, it's really more of a shrunken fit, and I'm more of an oversized girly, just because I want to wear like a shirt underneath them and just be comfortable, all of that. So I feel like this is more of just like shrunken, that kind of thing. Like, it's very tight in the underarms, it's very tight on the sleeves, like there is not a lot of ease in the sleeves, that kind of thing. So again, I do think it's a beautiful design. I am a little discouraged because I really like the design and I wish maybe I had just gone up a size because I didn't realize like how it would fit me. Again, that's partially on me for not like measuring myself super well compared to the schematics. But also, I just on me for not seeing, like I wasn't able to see pictures of people wearing it and then say, okay, I think I want to size up from that. Not the designer's fault, although I think it would be nice to know in the description that like, this is a shrunken fit. Like I had to ask like, hey, what is the intended length of this sweater? I know I can just measure it, but I wanted to see like, what is the vibe? Like what's the intended description of the fit? Because I feel like I want something to be more oversized when it's like this heavyweight cardigan versus being something super fitted. So I don't know. We'll see how it fits. I'm still really excited about it. I have buttons picked out that I haven't bought yet. I really want to try the toggles. I've never used those. So the toggles feel very Scandinavian inspired, whatnot. That's more of the vibe I'm going for. So again, it is a lovely pattern, and I feel like it's very beginner friendly if you are wanting to make like something that you see like a petite knit, super cabled, all over texture, whatever, and you aren't sure about it. I do think this is going to be a good option for you because it feels super easy, repeatable. I rarely looked at the chart. So it was a fun knit and it went rather quickly because it is the Aran weight yarn. Those are all my thoughts on it. I'm trying to hold out my judgment until I like put it on and see it on myself. I feel like the neckband really helped, and I do feel like it helps it look more like it might fit me because I really had to stretch this to meet the measurements. Again, I even went up a needle size. I don't know, my cables are just really tight. Anyway, okay, moving on. This is like the story of my knitting right now, and I feel like we all have these times, months, days, whatever, where it just doesn't feel like anything is hitting quite right. Again, I don't want to be disappointed yet in my white cardigan because I haven't tried it on yet, so I'll hold out for that, but I am feeling discouraged about this project. This is my Vertices Unite. I don't know if I've shared it with you guys yet, but a few weeks ago I said I'm casting on something for my Make 9, and I went for my Vertices Unite. Now, I have made a lot of progress on it. All my yarn balls are falling out. And I'm just going to be honest, I don't really love it. And I say I don't love it, and I don't even know if I like it. Like, that's where I'm at. And it feels really disappointing. I went for the small size because I realized I wanted it this fall, not next fall. My brother-in-law did make a large size one, and it took him a whole year to knit. Granted, he is a very busy person and has other hobbies too, so he wasn't working on it all the time. But I realized if I wanted it this fall, I need to make it now. So this is it. Yeah, I don't know. I really wanted it to be like pumpkin spice vibes, falling leaves, like, you know, leaf pile, that kind of thing. And so I love this first section, like really, really love it. And then I did this section, and this is where I started to question it. I changed up my color placement that I had planned. And then I did this section, and I just don't really knit with variegated yarns, and I don't know. I just like really am not sure. And so then when I'm doing this stripe section, my husband said, why did you have two of the same colors? And they're not. Like, you can tell close up, this is it's a knitting for olive caramel, and this is Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. But the contrast color is the same, the lighter color, this one. And that's just how the pattern is designed. But yeah, they do look very similar. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, and it's kind of where I'm at. And I really like this section, this dark brown. Yeah, I've reknit a lot of it. I knit this section like 3 times to try and get the colors right, and I'm not loving it. So I think I'm just gonna put it away. I really wanted to like just have this brown, beautiful, like comfy, and I'm just not getting that from this. So I don't know. I was iffy about the colors from the start because I just don't knit with a lot of like of these colors. Maybe that's not even true. These are all from my yarn pantry, and they're mostly left over from other things I've knit. So I don't know. It's just not. It's not a win right now. So I'm leaving it in the bag, and I'm gonna come back to it. But I'm probably gonna frog it. I don't even think I like it enough to gift it. I don't know. I'm just not sure. Maybe I need to rearrange the colors, or just wear my one that I have and that I love, and just not worry about making another one. Yeah, so with that being said, I'm sort of in the space for a new cast on. I do have one more project. I'm working on my sock. This is my All the Frills sock by Summerly Knits, and I am using a Woolberry sock set yarn from ages ago. And yeah, I talked about it a little bit in my Socktober video. If you have not watched that, I share 10 of my favorite sock patterns for the fall, and most of them I have actually made, which is kind of fun because I like pattern roundups, but I also like when the person doing the roundup has knit, like some of them. It doesn't have to be all. Like, we could never. There's so many patterns out there. This is the one I'm working on now, and I am really loving it. It's just a slow going project, but I'm almost to the toe. Probably tonight I'll finish it. And I'm trying to like do these so that I don't just like cast on another spontaneous project that doesn't work out, because those have been disappointing lately. So yeah, anyway, I'm working on my sock. If you watched my Socktober video, I did have a giveaway. So I'm going to put the giveaway winner here. And if that is you, could you please email me? My email is below, and I would love to send you the pattern that you want. Okay, let's see. I talked about finished object, works in progress. Oh, now I have a fix or frog project. So I'm going to fix this because I don't want to frog it. Yeah, this took me ages. And I see my mistakes now. Like, this is a fingering weight pattern. I used a sport weight yarn. It calls for a sock yarn. I used like a rustic wool. So there's not a lot of like drape or any of that in this sweater. It's kind of stiff. So I see like the issue there. That's definitely on me. I didn't really think that through. So it's very dense. It's quite dense of a project. And I think it's intended to be light and airy. Anyway, that aside, the issue that I have, on the inside I carried all of my yarns through when I was doing the color work. I don't have experience. This is my first all over color work sweater, and I didn't have any experience with it, and so you can see like here I just carried them up the center, and I didn't think it would be a big deal because it's like 5 rows of the main color and then you start using it again. So I thought 5 rows, that's not much, but it makes it's made a difference. Yeah, it's made a difference. It's like quite like pulls up when I'm wearing it, so I'll start wearing it, and then as the day goes on, like the sleeves will inch higher, and same with like the body. It feels like, so I did it here too. These actually look a little bit looser, but you can see visually that it's like pulling the sweater together. So I was trying to think about what I could do to fix this because I love it, but it's just uncomfortable to have like all the fabric just like comes up on my arm, and I just don't like that because it is quite a dense fabric. Let me show you what I did. I ended up cutting all of the floats on this sleeve and weaving them in individually. Now it's a little tough because the yarn is quite small because I carried it up, so there's not a lot to weave in, and I have been really nervous about it coming through and leaving open stitches, but so far it has not done that. I have more of all this yarn, so if that happens I can fix it, but it's taken a while. Originally I thought about like braiding them, but there just really wasn't any like yarn left to do that with because by the time I cut it, it was so short. So I see my mistake now. If I did this again, I would probably leave long tails and braid it down the sleeve and braid it down the body instead of weaving it in, because it was just so daunting to think about weaving all the ends in, and now I'm doing it now. But here's the crazy thing. Since I did this about a week ago, the sleeve has relaxed so much that I have about 1/2 inch to 1 inch longer on the sleeve. Like I'm holding it here at the same spot, and it's just crazy to see like how much length I have back after I cut and wove in the ends. So that to me feels like a big deal, and I think what I'm going to do is finish all of it and then re-block it, because I have a feeling that the stretch was really hindered by the floats being stuck. So yeah, we'll see. This is not my best sweater. Yeah, I made it, maybe it was 2 years ago. Yeah, I made it 2 years ago, and I got the yarn with friends on a trip, and it was very sweet and special. It makes me think of them, but I just have not been wearing it that often because it just creeps up all day. And I just don't love that. So anyway, I wanted to fix it because I do love it, and I am proud of it, even if the color work is quite lumpy and not the best tension. I still am proud of it, and so I think what I'm going to do is cut and sew those in, and maybe it will work. I don't know. I'm hopeful, but I'm also not, like, I might need to add more length to the bottom, because I think I was like, I don't want to do one more color work repeat ever again. And so I didn't crop it because the pattern is already cropped, but I was like, that's fine. That's fine. I don't need to add any more length. And I think I probably should have. But I'll update you guys on that. It was just really encouraging that it was almost like 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch just by cutting and weaving in the ends on the sleeve. So I do feel like it might be more relaxed sooner rather than later, and then I can wear it just in time for the fall. Okay, I have one acquisition to share with you guys. I need drum roll. Okay, it was needles. Okay, so I am working on a sample project for a designer, and they requested that I use metal needles. Now, I did not have the sizes that were required. I didn't really know what to do because I didn't want to buy like 3 or 4 sizes of needles in case my gauge was off, all of that. I went to my local yarn shop, Freeman's Creative, and I talked to Amelia, the owner, and she really helped me out because I did not know what I was going to do. I shared with her my dilemma of not wanting to invest in a new set of interchangeable metal. I feel more comfortable with my wooden needles. I like my metal ones for socks and sleeves, but I'm just not ready to get a whole new set yet. I mean, I would love to have a whole new set. She showed me these amazing things that were in my budget, which was a big part of it. And yeah, I'm super excited. I got the Chiagoo, that didn't sound good, Chiagoo metal interchangeable needles. So I got one cord that I could use for the whole project, and then I got a few different needle tips that I could just switch in and out. So basically, like, I made my own tiny set. I don't know, I felt very excited that it worked out. Now I feel like I'm starting to build my collection of the interchangeable needles versus having to invest in the whole set right away. Anyway, that might be super boring to you, and I'm so sorry. I just got really excited about problem solving. So if you don't see me knitting or posting a ton, I do have a sample knit for the month of October, so I'll be working on that. And then, gosh, I don't think it's going to release until the spring. So when it comes out, you know I'm going to share it with you right away, but I can't share right now what the project is that I'm working on, but it's exciting, and I think it's going to be really cool for a lot of you guys. And yeah, I think you're going to like it. But anyway, that's all I can say. Sorry for the tease. That was not intentional. I just got excited talking about it. But let's talk about my books, what I've been reading lately. While I'll pull this up, I'll also talk garden. My butternut squash did ripen, and I was so excited. My son and I went to pick them, but they had a lot of pest holes in them, like little tiny holes, and all the squash was chewed out. And I just felt really disappointed by that. Feels like everything is just not quite working out. Otherwise, our garden is doing well. We have quite the harvest of, like, a late season harvest of cucumbers and green beans and tomatoes, and so it's sort of like extending the summer. I just love a fresh cucumber, and I grew these mini ones this year, like those mini English ones, and I'm so happy with them. They've been delicious, and I would like to have them year round. I will settle for having them in October because I planted some like in July, planted some seeds, and so now I can have them in October. My other ones died off ages ago because they were so, like, just the heat and the disease and all that, and so I planted a fresh crop in July, and now I'm having cucumbers in October, and I've never done that. My sister recommended it, actually, and it worked out amazingly. So something's working out. My cucumbers are working out. My green beans are working out. But okay, let's talk about what I've been reading. The first book I read since I talked to you guys last, it was called The Academy. This is a new release. I think it came out in September of this year. It is by Elin Hildebrand and her daughter, Shelby Cunningham. Now, I have read many of Elin's books. I love a good, like, beach read sort of vibe, to kind of zone out and just, like, there's always a little bit of mystery in her books. I like that. There's a little bit of intrigue. There's never anything, like, too intense for me. I like a very specific type of book for my zone out sort of reading, and I feel like hers are pretty good. Like, they're not groundbreaking in terms of, like, life-changing, but they're fun to read often, and they're great for just a chill book. So when she came out with The Academy, I immediately started reading it. I listened to this on audiobook, and I love the narrator that she always uses, so it felt like hearing a familiar voice. I listened to most of hers on audiobook. Okay, let's get into the actual book. I will not include spoilers, so don't worry about that if you're interested in reading it, or if you just like hearing what people are reading. This was 432 pages, which felt like a lot. Again, I listened to it on audiobook, so I wasn't really keeping track of the pages, but I'm going to read you some of my notes. It's a drama-filled novel following both students and teachers over the course of 1 year at a New England boarding school. If you can think of any stereotype for a teenager struggle or success or any of that, every single stereotype, it is in this book. And also every, like, pop culture reference or Gen Z slang, also in this book. So if you're not into that, I wouldn't say this book is for you. Did I like it? I think I liked it. I liked that Elin is really good at building her worlds. So I felt very immersed in the boarding school vibes. I learned a lot about the characters, all of that. So I did like that aspect. I think I just didn't really like hearing about so many teenagers having such a hard time. Like every single thing. Like if you need content warnings, I would check those. Like it was just heavy to hear about young people struggling so much with these things. And I know it's real. Like it's not like a stereotype, like fake. It's like these are actually things kids deal with these days. I don't know, I felt a little bit sad hearing about these kids struggling with this. But will I read the second book when it comes out next year? Absolutely. I got to find out what happens. So overall, I felt like the main characters were likable. It was fun to hear about, their lives and ambitions and the little bit of mystery and that kind of thing. So overall, like, I liked it. Yeah. The issue that I had though is that it is billed as a young adult. When I looked at the categories, it's fiction, romance, contemporary, young adult, mystery, chick lit, academia, drama. So I would say this is not a young adult book. Perhaps this is a controversial opinion. I'm not sure. But this, to me, like I haven't read a lot of young adults, but I've read some like Emma Lord. And this is not that. This is not lighthearted and hopeful. This is like really intense. So I would say this is definitely like Euphoria versus High School Musical. Like I would not say this would be for you to just like freely hand over to your 13-year-old. I would read it with them if they wanted to read it. But yeah, I would say the young adult thing, cross that off. This is not for young adults. So if I had to give it a rating, I would say like 3 out of 5. I really, again, like Elin's style of like characters, and there was character arcs and growth and changes and all of that. So really good writing. But I think it just wasn't my like story, I guess. That's all I would say. Okay, the second one I've read recently since we last talked is The 7-Year Slip. This is from 2023, so you've probably heard of it if you are on Book YouTube or whatever. It has 336 pages. I did audiobook for this as well. And it's about a publicist who falls in love with her roommate who happens to be living 7 years in the past. No spoilers for this. I would say, again, check the content warnings because they do handle a few deep topics. I didn't really like the first half that much. I'll say I didn't understand the magic, and I think that's a common complaint of this book. The descriptions of how the apartment was in the past and all that, like it just didn't really, there was no description. It just didn't really build. There was no like, it was just like the author said, I have this idea and I'm going to write about it, and no, it doesn't make sense, but I'm going to write about it anyway. And I'm not really going to describe it. I'm just going to do it. Overall though, the second half I did enjoy. I wanted to keep reading it because I read so much about this book that it was enjoyable and fun and happy and all of that. And so here we are. I finished it. I did really like it. The second half was quite nice. There's a lot of like food descriptions because the main character is a chef. I like that. I like the publicist aspect. So I did like it. I think side note for both of these, there may be spicy scenes, but I generally skip those, so I cannot comment on them. But I'll read you the descriptions for The 7-Year Slip. Romance, fiction, audiobook, magical realism, contemporary, fantasy, time travel, contemporary romance, adult. Overall, this is the kind of book that I really enjoy reading. I think the magical realism threw me off because I didn't understand it well enough. And that perhaps is just a me problem and not a book problem. Again, it's very highly rated, so I was really curious about it. The last book I'm reading, you guys, I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I am reading currently Beartown by Frederick Bachman. Somebody should have told me not to read this one. I have read many of his books now. I feel like I'm really enjoying his style and how he handles heavier topics, but in a sort of redeeming way. In content warnings for this one, there's some serious topics that are really sad. And I don't know if I'm going to finish the book because, again, I like to read for like personal enjoyment. So if I'm not enjoying something, I just DNF it. But I'm really enjoying this one. I have a feeling I know how this ends, and it's kind of how it ends in real life too. And so I'm feeling all the feelings. I have a feeling there's going to be no justice served. There's going to be no, good things coming. Some character I love is not going to make it. I just if you've read Beartown, I'm sure you know the ending. If you read the whole series, you know all the endings, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. I kind of want to stop here where it's feeling really hopeful and then be done. But I'll let you know in my next video in 2 weeks if I finished Beartown or what I have read instead. Thanks for sticking around if you have made it this far. I so enjoy chatting with you guys. It has just been a little crazy in my personal life lately. My kids have been sick a lot. I'm sure if you have kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews or colleagues with kids, everyone's been sick. It's back to school. My daughter had an appointment this morning we had to miss because she was sick, and it just feels like that's the story of our life right now. So this feels like something I can try to hold on to and stay consistent in. And so thank you for being here and watching. I am grateful. So I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I hope you have better luck on your knitting than I have lately.